What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more Spandau Ballet, and we're returning for the conclusion and title track of their 1986 album, Through the Barricades. Thank you again to Phil. And yes, we started with that Barricades intro, which was very short and sort of had a melodic ambience to it. I wonder if there's any sonic connection here, but certainly if you begin with a barricade, or barricades, and you conclude with Through the Barricades, then number one, the concept album nature of the record is quite clear, but secondarily, I suppose there's a positive theme afoot in the sense that you have overcome an obstacle, you have found a way around or indeed through an impediment, so whether that's emotional or socio-cultural, whether it functions on multiple levels, it suggests progress. And in many cases, of course progress is a complicated concept, but that is a positive development. So yes, it sounds like someone has worked through something, or indeed collectively humanity, or at least a group of humanity has found a way to develop and progress. So yes, I do wonder, again, thematically, whether we'll have any lines that have come from across earlier tracks in the album, or whether the sonics will bear a connection to that opening and quite short introductory tune. So let's give it a listen. This is Spandau Ballet. The track is Through the Barricades from the album of the same name, 1986.
Mother doesn't know where love has gone. She says it must be youth that keeps us feeling strong. I see her in a face that's turned to ice, and when she smiles she shows the lines of sacrifice. And now I know what they're saying as our sun begins to fade, and we made our love on wasteland and through the barricades. Father made my history and fought for what he thought would set us somehow free. He taught me what to say in school. I learned it off by heart, but now that's time too. And now I know what they're saying in the music of the parade. And we made our love on wasteland and through the barricades. Born on different sides of life, we feel the same and feel all of this strife. So come to me when I'm asleep. We'll cross the lines and dance upon the streets. And now I know what they're saying as the drums begin to fade. And we made our love on wasteland and through the barricades. Oh, turn around and I'll be there. Oh, there's a sky through my heart, but I'll bear it again. Oh, I thought we were the human race, but we were just another borderline case. And the stars reach down and tell us
Good battle, Spandau. That is a brilliant tune. One of my favorites from them overall. Slightly less their wheelhouse. Certainly the first half, which has this down-tempo ambience, like ballad type structure. It eventually kicks in with a bit more energy and percussive power. But I really think it's a brilliant song. I totally get why it would be the title song. Number one, just because it might be the best on the album. Number two, it speaks to concepts discussed and explored across the album better than any other. And number three, it's just a great track to leave someone with at the end of a record to make them say, number one, I want to play the record again. Number two, to give them a sense of what the record was about and to leave them with that, if you will. So, yeah, I think it's brilliant. One of my favorites from them. And I love, again, we did get literal references to earlier songs in some of the lines, like about crossing the line, for example, and of course, borderline and barricades form the thematic texture of the track. But I love what I took away from the lyrics. I will have to hear it again, and maybe, there's some aspects of this that I'm not seeing fully or even correctly, but he's talking about how his parents and an older generation, they did what they thought was best, and they tried to instill, meaning and purpose to a younger generation's lives. But he's also talking about that younger generation, how they, they're the ones that carry on the emotion and to, bring the intensity of love and passion to the human condition and the human experience. And I think it is very much narrowly talking about one family, more broadly talking about generations of humans, and at the highest level talking about humanity as a whole. And we hear reference to the sounds of children's voices, and then by the end we literally hear those children's voices. But he seems to be in sort of the middle, and maybe not even middle, maybe moving toward the age that his parents were, who I think are passed away by the time of the narration of the song. But he's saying it's only over time that we get the wisdom to understand what these songs are about and what life is about, and these trajectories that we go on before our hearts go to their graves, and which, he makes reference to, what is it, an ice cold face, something like that. So maybe the passion does burn out, the emotion does burn out, and you get maybe a bit more cynical or realist as you get older, but also the fact that we are mortal and at the end we do expire. But it's saying all those stages are necessary. The youth need to carry on that passion and the love. The middle age seeks to, or serves the purpose of understanding and getting a sense for what should be inculcated to the younger generation. And by the end we understand, even as we are expiring and maybe have grown a little bit colder. But yes, we've made this wasteland, what was it, made love in the wasteland, or just made the wasteland? But this barricade, so it's all the different phases of being free, but also being bounded, but also of creating something in the space that you have during this trajectory of your life. It feels like a very reflective and wise perspective on the human condition, the journeys of different generations, the individual experience of any one human with their parents and maybe eventually their children, and then their own mortality, and thus the passing of a torch in multiple respects. It feels really cleverly written, and one of the most interesting songs lyrically I've heard from them. Sonically, as I said, a bit outside what I've come to expect in any given song, although in another way, and certainly in the back half, more fitting to that. But obviously we have, at first I was wait, is that actually not a saxophone but a clarinet? But by the end I became convinced, no, it's the saxophone, it's just played a bit more softly and sonorously, but still with soul and swagger. So yeah, it feels like it does a lot of what they do excellently again, but also in a way that made it hit a bit differently. And I think Hadley's voice is great here. I especially enjoyed hearing him in that down-tempo first half of the tune. So yeah, just a really great track. Love the way it ends the album. Do let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.